Legends of Boxing show on the Grueling Truth Sports Network. The Legends of Boxing show is brought to you by the Retired Boxers Foundation and MyBookie.ag. I'm your host for the Legends show, Mike Goodpaster. We have a special guest today, former WBC Welterweight Champion of the World. Help me welcome to the show, Milton, the Iceman McCrory. How you doing, Milton?
How you doing, Mike? I'm doing fine.
All right. Now, from reading about you, you started off differently than a lot of boxers. You grew up in a middle-class family in Detroit, and from what I read, your first love was baseball?
Yes. Yes. I played baseball when I was from a little boy until I was 18. I played my senior year in high school when I got back from Japan.
Now, my question is this. I was watching the pre-fight stuff for you and Donald Curry today, and HBO did you a disservice. They showed the ball hitting off your head as you're going back to try to catch it.
Yeah. Yeah, I remember that, yeah. That was fun.
So when did you take up – what was that?
No, I ain't saying nothing.
Oh, okay. So when did you take up boxing? I heard that Jimmy Paul and a few of your friends kind of what got you started.
Yeah, Jimmy Paul got me and my brother Steve started. It was back in 1974. We was little kids, and Jimmy, me and Steve thought Jimmy was lying about he was boxing. Jimmy said he was boxing, and we was like, stop lying. So he tricked us and said, in order for us to come and watch him, we got to bring gym shorts, gym shoes too, and act like you're going to box too. And we did the first day, and then we all fought Saturday. We started Monday and fought Saturday.
So was it something that was love at first sight for you?
No, I didn't like boxing. I didn't like it like that. I still like the baseball. I still, every summer, I would quit boxing and play baseball.
Yeah. But
what I learned about boxing was, as I got older, I realized as an individual, I was good in all sports. Only baseball trophy I ever got to baseball was MVP. I was like always the best player on the team.
Yeah, so...
But an individual, like with boxing, is different because that's the self, that's just you. No mistakes out of nobody else.
Yeah, and so what was your experience with Emmanuel Stewart, one of the greatest trainers in boxing history, growing up?
Oh, man, he was like a father to me, like another father to me. He treated me well. I got my first car through Emmanuel. I looked up to him. He was like a father figure to me.
Yeah, and you had a really good amateur career. I think I read something like 115 and 15 or something. I know you lost in the 1979 amateur finals, and I bring this up because Lemieux Staples was a guy that never really got to see how things would turn out for him. He died in a plane crash in Poland in 1980. Can you talk to us a little bit about fighting Staples?
Yes, we fought 3 times in 79, lost in the finals to him in the Golden Glove, the AAU, and the Pan Am. I thought I beat him. That was the year that man said, if you win a national, I'll buy your car. And it's funny, it was about 10 years or 15 years later, I said, man, you think I really beat Lemieux? He said, you got a car, didn't you? See, that answers the question right there, right?
Yeah. And, of course, everybody's dreams to go to the Olympics. You lose in the Olympic trials to Johnny Bumpus, who actually we had on the show a few weeks ago. That had to be a huge disappointment for you. And did you ever consider waiting around for 1984 and another shot at the Olympics?
No. Because of the bad decisions, to me, I thought like in 79, even with Bumpus, I thought it was a bad decision. That turned me, Tommy was already pro, so it was like go to another level because I can't win the amateur. I go overseas and I win a gold medal. I come over to the United States, I keep losing to, Bumpus, Lemieux, people like that, I just felt it was time for me to go.
Yeah, people talk about how corrupt professional boxing is. I think the amateurs are 10 times worse even a lot of times.
Oh, yes. A lot of bad decisions. A lot of these people, judges, don't know nothing about boxing. And they blame them down with their pencil.
Yeah.
So-and-so went around. So-and-so went around. He's not doing nothing to win around, but You have to consider him a winner and being his hometown favorite. A lot of that plays a big thing in the amateurs.
Yeah, and then you turned pro. You want to talk to us a little bit about your professional debut?
Okay, I mean, not my debut, but just when I first started, I had my first 17 fights. I had 17 straight knockouts. My first 5 was in the first round. I was scheduled to fight 2 6-rounder first round, like two scheduled 8-rounders with first round knockouts. And my 5th fight was a 10-round. I've been fighting 10 rounds my whole career. This is my 5th fight. I never went the distance until I got about 19 fights.
Yeah, and from what
go ahead.
Yeah, we'll get to him in a second, but there was one other thing that I found out from doing a little research on you, and something I remembered a little bit also. You had a hand injury, I think it was in 1981.
Oh, yeah.
How did that affect your career, or did it affect you the rest of your career?
It didn't affect me not to throw it, but my mentality after hearing the break when I fought Roger Stafford, I kind of changed my game. I started becoming a better left hooker, because I didn't have the confidence in the right hand no more.
Yeah. And then, as you said, your first big test, I think, was Pete Ranzani, who was a really good fighter. You want to talk to us a little bit about Pete Ranzani and even Randy Shields, who I think you fought those guys back-to-back.
Yes, back-to-back. Randy Shields, it wasn't much say, but at the press conference with Pete Ranzani, he said, no, he's not going to knock me out. That was my 17th. That was going for my 18th straight knockout. And he said, he's not going to knock me out. I was like, I'm thinking like, But I did knock him out. And he made me piss blood that night. I never forget that.
Yeah, he was a tough guy. I think Shields was probably a little bit more on the downside when he fought you than Ranzani was. And I know you talked about Thomas Hearns. What was your relationship like with Thomas?
It was real close. I was like his best man. Man, everywhere he went, I went with him. It was I had better workouts. I just had Tommy's number. You know what I'm saying? I could give him real hard workouts better than anybody else could.
Yeah, because you did it so much, you knew him better than anybody did.
Right. I used to watch him when I was a kid. And I always think, if I were box them, certain things I would do. But, and then, 4 years later, I got to his size, and when he was getting ready to fight up with Pino Cueva, that's when the first time we ever sparred. I was finally his size. So
did you see yourself trying to emulate him a little bit?
Yes. My first 20 fights, I would fight with the low left hand like you did. Yeah. But then I caught myself in about 20, 21 fights. I realized I got to do Milton, not do Tommy. I used to fight with the low left hand, too.
Yeah, and then you get your first title shot. Sugar Ray Leonard vacated a championship in '82. You got a shot against Colin Jones for the vacant title. The fight ended in a draw. And for what stood out for me watching that fight is Jones was really awkward, kept his hands really high, and he seemed to give you trouble with that style.
Yes, and like they say, style does make fight. The peekaboo, that model style and cover your face thing, I punched myself out early. I hated that style. It's hard to get to them guys. They cover their face up pretty good. It's hard to get them. But that was the style. That style was hard for me.
Yeah, that's a fight that I think you won from watching the fight, because I think you carried the first 7 or 8 rounds, and then it looked like you really got tired.
Yeah, yes, I did. Because we was in Reno, Nevada, up in the mountains. Yes, I did.
All right, then the rematch, because you got to have a rematch if you got to draw when you're fighting for the vacant title, contained controversy in the week leading up to the fight. What was Jones Camp's problem? Because I remember that there was some rumors that they weren't even going to fight.
Right. I mean, I don't know all that. I just know we fought twice. I don't know.
Oh, man, I was watching the second fight today, and they were talking about how there was controversy at the press conference and all that. But
oh, yeah.
So
that was 9 king hand back then, so I don't know.
yeah, with Don King, it's hard telling what the hell the problem was.
Right.
He probably got them over here and told them they were fighting for free or something. So the rematch, the thing I remember the most about that, it was outside in Vegas, and I think they reported before the fight it was like 105 in the shade. How difficult a fight was that for you? I know you dropped him in the first, and it looked like
first round.
Yeah, it looked like out of the 24 rounds I saw that he never really hurt you until the second fight around maybe the 7th or 8th round.
Right. That's true. Yeah, he staggered me. Yes, he did. The second fight, the only difference in the first fight and the second fight was I dropped him. He staggered me, but, it was 2 wars. Both of them fights were 2 wars.
Yeah, he was a tough guy.
Yes.
And then you get to defend the title against Milton Guest. I think that was in January, and I think it was in Sterling Heights, and you dominated Guest. I mean, you looked as good as you ever did to me, and Milton Guest was a solid fighter.
Yeah, but it seemed like once I won that title, it just seemed like I had an edge over everybody. It just seemed like I was just better. My skills just seemed better than everybody. For some reason, I don't know why it seemed like that, but it did. It just took over me like I'm really the champ. I'm the best, and that played a big role for me.
Yeah, and you hear old trainers talk about that. When somebody becomes a champion, they become like 40 or 50% better right after that.
Right, and that's what happened, yeah.
All right, then you went overseas a couple times and fought, I think against Pedro Valhalla.
Paris, I fought in Paris, and I fought in Monte Carlo, France, yes.
Yeah, what was that like going overseas as a world champion in places like France?
Well, Paris was the place I picked it. I remember being in elementary or junior high school and, thinking like they was like Paris, city of, like, I just had it in my mind. I just stayed in my mind since I was a kid. Then when I said, I wanted to defend my title in Paris. I just threw it out there to see what they were going to say, and it worked.
So did you was Paris everything you thought it would be, Milton?
It was, but as we fought everybody, we left the next day, so I didn't get a chance to go out and do stuff like everybody else got the chance to do. I just, I just say that, hey, I did fight in Paris, so I have been there, but I liked it.
Well, and I think that's a lot of things today. You get guys like Floyd Mayweather that never go overseas, and I think they're really missing out. You look back at the guys in the 70s, 60s, guys like Cassius Clay, Muhammad Ali, would go defend their title everywhere, which is where you get, I think, the term world champion. And I think a lot of these guys are really missing out by not doing that.
Right. Yeah, I think, our era was great. I mean, like you said, they had the 15-rounders, but then when they changed it to 12, which was better, that's what I wanted the title. But I think it's a big difference. The next 3 rounds is a big difference, man.
Yeah.
I mean, you can see that in the Mayweather and who was that MMA fight they fought?
Oh, McGregor.
He couldn't go all around. McGregor.
Yeah, well, I think it only went that far because Mayweather allowed it to go that far, though.
Yeah, he didn't fight him right off. He just let him punch himself out.
Yeah. Then you get to the big fight against Donald Curry. And the one thing I've always wondered, and I did hear a little about it before, was I think Donald Curry was a hell of a fighter, but I never thought he would knock you out in the second round. And I always figured that maybe that was a weight issue.
Yeah, terrible. Yes, you're right. It was. I thought the Donald Curry fight, I had outgrew welterweight. Really, when I won the title, when I beat Colin Jones, I was like 161 streetweight. But when I got to Dowd, I was like 172 pounds, come down to 147. And then back then, you had to make the weight the same day of the fight.
Yeah.
It's not like now what they can eat Friday night and fight Saturday, We had to weigh in the morning of the fight. That played a big role, too.
Yeah, is that something that maybe you wish you would have moved up weight classes a couple years earlier?
Yes. Me and the man talked about that years later. I stayed welterweight too long.
Yeah, and then a couple years later, you got a title shot against Mike McCallum. And we had Mike on the show a few weeks ago. Was a great fighter, actually a great interview. And from what I read, and from talking to him, you only had like 2 weeks' notice and broke your nose in training.
Right. Yep. All that is still 40.
Now, why? Why did you take it on short notice? Were you that confident you could beat him?
I mean, it was yes. I just thought I could beat him. I really thought that. I mean, we sparred in New York one time. I was about 18 at the first time. I ain't seen him since the amateurs, but we sparred. I did so good with him that I thought he was kind of scared of me.
Yeah.
I always thought that. I thought I could beat him.
All right. Then your next big fight was against Lupe Aquino, which you lost a close decision there. I think you were knocked down twice in rounds 2 and 5.
Yeah.
Yeah, Aquino was a tough guy, but when you lose to him, and I'm not real because I don't think you lost a fight, but when you're having trouble with guys like Aquino, is that when you start to think maybe it's time to get out?
Yeah, that's when I started. Because I was upset with Emmanuel. And he was, he wanted me to fight a different fight, and I fought inside. I just fought him, which was stupid. I look back, which was stupid, but sometimes that happens.
Yeah, you usually really don't realize that until it's too damn late to do anything about it.
Right.
So from there, you fight a couple more times. You decided to retire. When you look back at your career, are there any regrets you have?
The Mike McCallum fight, Lupe Aquino. I mean, there are things that I deal with. The reason that I lost, and it's some. I mean, other than my loss, just only things with that. I made mistakes with the bite, with the broken nose, and 2-week notice. I look back and say, hey, my first fight, I shouldn't have lost.
Yeah, and the other thing that was interesting to me is you came up in the early 80s when you had guys Leonard, Cuevas, Duran. Was there any talk of you fighting any of those guys during your career?
Oh, yes. We tried to fight Duran, Pino Cuevas. Yeah, we tried to fight them.
They just didn't want to? No. Or I assumed that Duran, after running into Hearns, probably didn't want to mess with any tall guys from Detroit anymore.
Right. Yeah, you're right. And I pretty much had the same Tommy Styles, so yeah, he didn't want to see that.
All right.
Sugar Ray, but people don't remember that Sugar Ray took a tune-up fight. A tune-up fight was for me. He said he wanted his WBC belt back, right?
Yeah.
He took the tune-up with Kevin Howard.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, because if he wins the Howard fight, and he won the Howard fight, but he got knocked down and decided to retire again. So the next fight was supposed to be against you?
Yeah, that was the tune-up was for. He said he wanted WBC belt back.
Yeah. Well, that sucks because that was probably worth, what, $1 million or $2 million to you?
It was about $1.5 million. That's what I would have got if it would have happened.
Yeah. How do you think you would have done against him?
Thought I was going to beat him. Thought I really was going to beat him. I just, because I get upset about, because they was Sugar, everybody liked Sugar Ray. And they would not talk about Milton McCrory. So that was the insult to me. I would have fought him hard, real hard.
Yeah, you probably wanted to get a little revenge for your friend, too.
Oh, yeah, that too. Yeah. Everybody at the time he had lost to, I used to want to fight him. Even Hagler at that one time, I wanted to fight. I thought I was middleweight then, though.
Yeah. But, well, if you'd moved up to middleweight like 1982, you'd have got that eventually.
Yeah, well, I didn't.
Hagler was a tough dude, though. I mean, him and Tommy was about as good a fight as you'll see for a couple of rounds.
Right. That's true.
All right, so I know that you still kind of work at the Kronk every once in a while. You guys have brought the gym back. You want to tell us a little bit about what you guys are doing there?
Well, right now, I'm training with the amateur kids after school for 4:30 to 7. I would still work for Chrysler UAW for Detroit. So my days is full. I got boxing 5 days a week. I got work 5 days a week. So I do, one athlete. I mean, first my job, then I go to the gym.
All right. Now, when you're training an amateur, I'm sure that a lot of what you tell them is what Emmanuel told you. What is the one thing that stuck out to you that Emmanuel tried to get through to you that you find yourself most often trying to tell these kids?
Mental will is more than anything. Like, we look at what he was doing back then. Maybe it was wrong or right, but we trained with a lot of bigger guys out of our weight class. We did that a lot. We had a lot of wars at Crump. We always fought bigger guys, older guys. And to me, that really did something to me. I mean, as an 18-year-old kid, I was ready for the world.
Yeah.
Well, I showed that when I won the Amateur World Championship.
Yeah.
Of it. But yeah, I mean, people, like Milton McCrory came out of nowhere. I came out of nowhere. I was the Amateur World Champion. So that means this kid can fight.
Yeah, you won that in Japan, didn't you, in 1979?
Cool.
You won that in Japan, 1979, didn't
you? December 79, yeah.
Yeah, so when you look at guys today, if we look at the welterweight division, what's your take on a guy like Errol Spence?
He's all right. This generation, they're not big. They're not, like me and Tommy, guys starving to make, guys were starving to make weight. These guys just walk off the street and be like 150 pounds. Like, if I weighed 150 pounds, I'll still be fighting 135, 140.
Yeah, so when you look at boxing today, are there any guys that stand out as guys you really like to watch?
I like Crawford. That boy, Terrence Crawford.
Yeah.
Yeah, I like him.
Yeah, I think he's the best fighter in the world.
More to me. Yeah, he stands out more to me than anybody.
So you like Crawford if he fights Spence?
Yes. I like whoever Crawford fight, I favor him.
Yeah. But, all right. It was great having you on the show, Milton. I want to thank you again for coming on.
Yep. What stage is this going to be on?
It's on right now, live. It'll be on iHeartRadio, iTunes, TuneIn, Spreaker. What I will do is this. When this show is over, I will post it on the website, and I will send you a link on your cell phone.
Okay.
All right?
Good.
And
all right.
we would love to have you on sometime on our weekly boxing show if there's a big fight coming up or something, if you want to sit in and talk about it.
I can do that. I'm not a great commentator, but I can do that.
We're not either, but people still listen to us.
Right.
All right, Milton. I want to thank you again.
Okay.
And if any of those Crunk guys want to come on, we'd love to have them.
Okay.
But, all right.
Tommy Human. Yep. Okay.
All right. Just hold on here. I'm going to sign off the show. Stay on, and we'll talk for a minute afterwards, okay?
Okay.
All right. All right, guys. I want to remind you can hear all the other Legends of Boxing shows on thegruelingtruth.net. Last week we had Larry Holmes, George Foreman. This week, of course, we had Milton, and we've got Lou Savarese, former heavyweight contender, tomorrow. Sean O'Grady we're looking at later on in the week. So we're going to go ahead and wrap it up. So for Milton McCrory, I'm Mike Goodpaster. You've been listening to The Grueling Truth, where the legends speak.